Here we are in May, and it is time to look back on our April sales. So let's take a look. Taking a look back at my April sales, I was happy to see that I increased my overall sales from March, which was awesome. And taking a closer look, I can see why that happened. The biggest reason being I repriced a lot of books, and that was because I was taking a look at my older books, 300 plus at least that I went through, and there's still some more to go through to take advantage of the free Amazon promo for disposing or returning your items. I had a bunch returned and I've disposed of quite a few as well. But I also repriced more than I had removed. And that was because I felt that they could actually sell, and that if I lowered the price if I dropped the price low enough that I thought that they would sell, and it turns out that a lot of them did. And I'm kicking myself because if I would have lowered the prices months ago, I probably could have sold out on a lot of these older books that have been sitting around collecting storage fees for over a year. These are all books that I have had in storage for 12 plus months, for 12 to about 18 months, depending upon when I sent them in. Because remember, I started back in September of 2014. The first 7 months worth of shipments and books and everything that I sent in were still sitting there, or at least some of them were. In some cases, a lot of them were. So it was definitely worth it for me to go back through everything and reprice a lot of the items. And of the sales that I made in April, which were 155, the previous month, March, was 132. So I surpassed it by 23 sales. 19 of the April sales were items I repriced in April. I didn't start repricing until 10 days or so, about 7 to 10 days into April. So once again, I was kicking myself because I should have been repricing from, months ago, but at least from the beginning of this month, and looking to remove items as well. I would have sold even more of those older books. But, you live and learn, and I'm going to keep repricing. I still have quite a few, at least a few hundred more to go to reprice at least the ones that are around 12 months or older. So 19 of the additional sales this month were from repriced items. Therefore, if I hadn't repriced those items, chances are few, if any of those, would have sold, which means I only would have sold a few more books or items in April than I did in March. This is why it's such a good idea to reprice. I don't have a repricer, and I know with the people out there that have a repricer are probably thinking, well, why don't you just get a repricer and you don't have to hassle with it? Well, I don't want to dive into that conversation in this video, but I'll just say that I'm not ready yet for a repricer, and if I ever do get to that point, then I'll pull the trigger and figure out how to use it and to the best of my ability. But for now, I'm going to continue being a control freak and dealing with the repricing on my own manually, because I can see firsthand that it makes a big difference to go back and reprice, especially on the older books. I should definitely see a lot of the books that I repriced during April selling through May as well, because I repriced so many, and based upon how many I was able to sell, I should be able to keep selling a lot of those. And like I said, I'll reprice quite a few more, so May should have some more sales because of that as well. Based upon the 155 sales I made in April, I averaged just over 5 sales a day, which was awesome, which means that's halfway to my 10 sales a day. Remember, this is a slower month compared to the faster part of the year, or the better part of the year from August through January, with maybe October being the slower month in there amongst that. But basically August, September, November, December, and January are all the best months of the year to sell books and other items as well, but especially books and other media. However, I did do much better in April with CDs than I've ever done. I sold 21 CDs in April, and I also sold 9 VHS tapes. So that's 30 items that comprised almost 20% of my total sales. Books were 78% of my sales, and CDs were 13.5%, while VHS was just over 5%. So that's pretty significant. Talking about 19 to 20% of my sales being CDs and VHS. And considering that I'm sending in another 100 plus CDs soon, I should increase that percentage over the next few months. And I'm going to keep looking for CDs as well to add to my inventory, because I can see the holidays being incredible for CDs and VHS tapes, but especially CDs because I'll have so many more in stock. So December should be great for CD sales. Overall, I'm happy with how I did in April. I learned a lesson of repricing and it being more important than I have been putting into it. Basically, to be honest, I've barely repriced since I started doing this business. I did one big repricing last year, probably summer or so of last year. I repriced a bunch of the older books. I sold some, but since then I haven't really repriced. I don't think I've repriced at all. Repricing is definitely super important, especially for your older items. So I will continue to do that and hopefully increase sales. And also, guys, I dropped a lot of prices really low. I wanted to make sure to be the lowest FBA offer and sometimes the lowest merchant fulfilled offer. It depends on the merchant fulfilled. If it's a penny offer, then I'll just go really low, like $4.95, $4.75, maybe $4.50, something like that, just to try to grab the sale for someone that comes along, is either a Prime member or possibly wants to take advantage of Amazon dealing with the shipping and all that stuff. Really aggressive with my repricing on a lot of these older books because I just wanted them to sell. And I wanted to try to recoup my initial investment. Sometimes it didn't happen. Sometimes I broke even. Sometimes I made 50 cents to $1 or $1.50 or $2. But I was happy with selling it versus just having it disposed. And if I can continue to sell some of these or a good amount of them, then that'll be good. I'll reassess the ones that I repriced this month, probably in a couple months, and see if they're not selling, then maybe I should just get rid of them. But I'm trying to get some of them to sell, and sometimes you have to be really aggressive with the pricing. So I sold the cheapest one that I repriced that sold was for $3.95, and I think Amazon paid me something like 45 cents for that. The least I was paid by Amazon off one of the sales was 10 cents. I'm not kidding. So I definitely lost money on that, considering that I spent money on the book and it sat in storage for over a year. I wanted to give a shot at selling it, and it just happens that that one didn't sell for very much, and possibly the weight or dimension of the book cost a little bit more to ship. But I'm keep on pushing with the shipments this month so I can boost my numbers, my non-repriced book sales numbers, to try to increase it for May over April, excluding all the repriced books. I sent in a bunch of CDs. I got the 46 books. I also went to the thrift store. I probably had close to 60 books, probably close to 150 CDs. So we're talking about 200 items to send in already that I'm sitting in my house that I have to go through. Not in addition to all the sourcing I'm going to do the rest of May. I'll hopefully get in closer to 300 or so items. I hope your April sales surpassed your March sales. If they didn't, hopefully it was really close and you stayed steady. But the best way to do it is to keep on sending those shipments in, because the larger you grow your inventory, the more shipment you have to send in because your sales go up. So you have to replace those items in inventory. So I'm getting close now, not quite yet, but heading towards 200 sales in a month, which means that I have to be sending in probably 200 to 300 items a month to keep increasing my sales. And I'm sure at some point I'm going to plateau based upon the size of my shipments. So I don't know when that'll happen, but if I keep up with just doing about 200, 250 items a month, I'm going to probably plateau when I get to around that amount of sales, would be my guess. And even if I plateau with the sales, I'm still going to keep sending stuff in and keep trying to build it up, because definitely August will deplete my inventory a lot. I'm shooting for 400 plus sales in August. That's my goal. January I did 226 sales. And this month I did 155, so January was one of the bigger months, and I'm not too far off of it for this month. So I'm figuring August will be a big month for book sales, and hopefully send in a lot more books. It'll be a record month. Have a great May, great start to May, and look back at your numbers, see if there's anything you can learn from them, and move forward. And as always, remember, keep booking.